Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Minute on the Mountain. I want to go ahead and do the Minute on the Mountain and the channel shout out to kick off this video, and then we'll get into a hike that we took down in southern Utah. The channel that I want to shout out is Big Bear Fishing. So as you can imagine, most of his videos are fishing videos. Got a lot of great videos. He just had kind of a review on his channel about reducing wind noise, and he talked about a little wind shield that he uses for his GoPro. I bought a couple, and I feel like they've made a big difference. So, thank you for that tip, Big Bear Fishing. I will put a link down in the description to his channel. The Minute on the Mountain that I want to talk about today is from Genesis chapter 22. It's the story of Abraham and Isaac. If you grew up going to church, it's probably a story you heard at least once a year in Sunday school. So just to give you some context and some background, God had promised Abraham that he would bless him and give him as many descendants as the stars in the sky. And he eventually fulfilled that promise through his son Isaac. And after Abraham and Sarah have Isaac, in Genesis chapter 22, God calls out to Abraham and tells Abraham he wants him to sacrifice his son. And he says, yes, your only son Isaac, whom you love very much. And so early the next morning, it says, very early the next morning, Abraham sets out to Mount Moriah, where God had told him to go to sacrifice his son. Now, spoiler alert, he doesn't have to sacrifice him. God provides a substitute. And in that way, this story is a great foreshadowing of Jesus and his substitution for us on the cross. But what I want to talk about in the story, there's a scene where Isaac, who would have been 14, 15, 16 years old at the time, Abraham would have been well over 100, about 110. Isaac says, well, Dad, we've got the fire and we've got the wood, but where's the sheep? Isaac was no dummy. He knew there was going to be a sacrifice. And Abraham says, God will provide. And then the very next sentence says, and so the two walked on together. Man, I just love that. This picture of a father and a son stepping out in faith together. As a dad, as a man, if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what would. And I just think there's a couple of reasons that Isaac was able to walk out in faith. One is I'm sure Abraham had told Isaac many, many times about God's promise, and that Isaac was a fulfillment of that promise and about God's faithfulness. And I'm sure he had told Isaac many, many times that God is going to bless me through you. He's going to make our descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. So Isaac didn't just have faith in his dad, he had faith in God and faith in the promises of God. So a couple of applications for you and I as dads. Number one, we need to be telling our kids that God has a purpose and a plan for them. And we may not know specifically what that is, like Abraham did, but we know that God has a purpose and a plan for our kids. And number two, we can't ask our kids to walk where we're not walking. Abraham had to step out in faith so that Isaac could walk with him and step out in faith. So if you want your kids to pursue God, you need to be pursuing God. Anyway, that's the Minute on the Mountain. It comes from Genesis chapter 22. If you have some time, read that this week and just be amazed at how awesome Abraham's faith was and how awesome our God is. So with that said, let's move on to the video. I got to do a little retreat kind of with some of the other pastors at our church. And here's a hike from Snow Canyon State Park. It's a beautiful day, beautiful scenery. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hey, what's up, gang? Down in the St. George area at Snow Canyon State Park with Pastor Ross. Campus Director Mark Alstrom from our Syracuse campus. We're hitting a little hike today in Snow Canyon, so we'll see some red rock. Thanks for coming along.
quite a few yucca plants on the trail. See those handful right there. Again, this is called the Red Sands Hidden Pinyon Trail. Have not seen any pinyon pine yet though. It's just been this scrub oak.
I was not paying attention. We were just talking.
That's how they hide it.
Cool. That's great.
Alright guys, we're on the top of the Pinyon Overlook. We got a little arch right up here. Let's see if we can go get underneath it.